Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving deep into the world of AI. We've got some really fascinating sources today about all the latest power plays in AI and some kind of scary data dangers that are emerging. So yeah, we're going to be covering everything from Elon Musk trying to buy back OpenAI to a potential AI chip war. And even a global AI summit with some pretty surprising leadership.
It's definitely a lot to keep up with, right? It seems like every day there's a new headline about AI, some groundbreaking advancement, or some, cautionary tale about the risks. So hopefully today we can kind of help make sense of it all.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just jump right in. Let's start with the drama that's been unfolding over at OpenAI. Elon Musk has reportedly offered like a crazy $97.4 billion to buy back part of the company that he co-founded. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty bold move, especially considering his history with OpenAI, right? He left back in 2018 because he disagreed with the direction they were going in. And he's even suing them right now. But now he's trying to buy his way back in. It's
right.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of like he's trying to wrestle for control of the steering wheel while the car is still moving, And speaking of bold moves, Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, countered Musk's offer with a proposal to buy Twitter, or X as it's known now, for a fraction of the price.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think this whole back and forth between Musk and Altman, it really highlights a fundamental tension that's happening right now in the AI world between open source AI and corporate control.
Right.
Musk is very vocal about being pro-open source. He thinks that it's the best way to ensure that AI benefits all of humanity. And Altman, on the other hand, seems to favor a more controlled, commercially driven approach.
Yeah, and we can't forget about that whole saga back in late 2023. When Altman was actually fired by OpenAI's board, only to be reinstated days later with a totally new board. It's just wild. You really start to get the feeling that this whole AI landscape is like the Wild West right now, with everyone just scrambling for power.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely moving fast.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that this battle for control over AI, it's not just some Silicon Valley, drama. It has real implications for all of us, for how this technology is developed and used and how it impacts our lives.
For sure. And speaking of real-world implications, let's shift gears for a sec and talk about a more concerning issue. Data security. One of the reports that we looked at this week revealed a pretty startling statistic. 10% of AI queries that are entered by employees actually contain sensitive data.
Wow.
Yeah. Things like customer details, financial records, even internal cybersecurity protocols.
That's a lot. And what's even more concerning is that, these leaks aren't limited to the free AI tools or unsanctioned ones. Even the paid enterprise grade platforms, the ones that are designed for businesses, are experiencing these leaks too.
It's kind of ironic in a way. We rely on AI to enhance security in so many areas, but just using it can actually create new security risks.
Yeah, exactly. And it brings up some interesting legal questions as well, especially around intellectual property. Let's say a company's engineer enters their secret formula or something for a new product into an AI tool to help with the development process. If that information leaks out, they could lose the legal protection of their trade secret.
That's a scary thought. It makes you think about the responsibility that we all have in protecting sensitive data. Especially in this age of AI. I mean, do employees really understand the risks? Are companies providing enough training and safeguards?
Yeah, these are definitely questions that we need to be asking. And it's not just about information leaving the company either. We also have to think about the potential for AI-generated errors or misinformation that could influence business decisions. Imagine an AI tool that's been trained on biased data sets. The insights that it generates could lead to some really flawed decision-making and potentially impact everything from hiring practices to product development.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really is a double-edged sword. While AI offers incredible potential, it also comes with some inherent risks that we need to be aware of and actively try to mitigate. But let's stay on this theme of power shifts for a moment. Because there's another development that we need to unpack that could have major repercussions. OpenAI is reportedly designing its own AI chip.
Oh, wow. This is huge. This could be a game changer.
Right.
Because right now, OpenAI relies heavily on NVIDIA for their chips, which really limits their bargaining power and their control over their own hardware. But if they develop their own chip, they'd have way more autonomy. They could potentially reduce costs and even accelerate their own AI development.
Yeah, but creating your own chip is no easy feat. It's a super complex process, it's expensive, and there's a significant risk of failure. They could run into delays, technical glitches, the chips might not even perform as well as they expect.
Yeah.
We've seen other tech giants like Meta and Microsoft try this and fail.
Yeah, it's a huge gamble. You know, designing a chip, or taping out, as it's called in the industry, it requires like really intricate design work, where engineers essentially lay out the chip circuitry, and then that blueprint is sent off for manufacturing. So yeah, high stakes for OpenAI.
Yeah, and to make things even more interesting, there's kind of a counter-narrative that's emerging from this company called DeepSeek. They're showing that powerful AI doesn't actually require massive processing power. Their models are getting some really impressive results while using significantly less resources.
That's really interesting. So they're challenging this assumption that bigger and more powerful chips are always better. If their model proves to be scalable and sustainable, it could disrupt the entire AI chip market, potentially even impacting OpenAI's gamble.
Right. It's pretty fascinating. We're seeing all these different approaches to AI development playing out right now. On one hand, you have OpenAI, aiming for more control over their hardware and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with raw processing power. And then on the other hand, you have companies like DeepSeek, focusing on efficiency and showing that you don't necessarily need a supercomputer to achieve some pretty impressive AI capabilities.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be following AI. There's so much innovation happening. It's really cool.
Totally. And speaking of different approaches, we can't overlook what's happening in the world of open source AI. While companies like OpenAI are making all these headlines with their corporate maneuvers, Alibaba has been quietly becoming a powerhouse in the open source arena.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, all of the top 10 open source large language models, or LLMs, on Hugging Face, which is like a popular platform for hosting these models, they're all powered by Alibaba's Qwen models.
That's impressive. For those who might be wondering what exactly is an LLM, think of them as like the brains behind AI systems like ChatGPT. They're these incredibly complex algorithms that allow computers to understand and generate human-like text. It's really the foundation for so many of the AI applications that we see today.
Yeah, and Alibaba's dominance in this open source LLM space, it's especially interesting when you consider the debate that we were having earlier about, open source versus corporate control. It really adds fuel to the argument that open source AI could be a more democratic and accessible path forward, so more people can benefit from these advancements without being beholden to a few powerful companies.
That's a really good point. And it's not just about access either. Yeah. Open source models also encourage collaboration and transparency, so developers can build upon each other's work, share their findings, and collectively improve these models.
Right.
And we saw this illustrated perfectly by thyoe, who's a leading AI researcher. She used Alibaba's Qwen model to train a new AI system that's capable of doing some pretty complex reasoning tasks for under $50.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's incredible. It's a testament to the power and potential of open source AI to really democratize access to these tools.
Yeah, it really challenges this notion that you need massive resources and expensive infrastructure to make significant advancements in AI, which is really cool. But while we've been focusing on like the US and China so far, our deep dive wouldn't be complete without mentioning another player that's making some big waves in the AI world.
India.
That's interesting. I honestly wouldn't have expected that. Tell me more.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he gave this really compelling speech at the recent Paris AI Summit, advocating for like a pretty unique set of principles to guide AI development: openness, fairness, and sustainability.
Okay, that's interesting. What does that look like in practice? Well, he emphasized the need for trust and transparency in these AI systems. And he's pushing for the use of open source models and clean data sets that are free from bias. He also stressed the importance of using AI to address like global challenges, like climate change and poverty. So it's really a vision of AI that prioritizes human well-being and ethical considerations, alongside technological advancements.
So it sounds like India is really trying to be a leader in shaping the future of AI, not just in terms of technological development, but also in establishing these ethical guidelines and fostering a more inclusive approach.
Exactly. And their role in shaping global AI governance was very evident at that Paris summit. They're co-chairing the AI governance theme alongside France and Canada, so they're clearly committed to ensuring that AI benefits all of humanity.
That's pretty inspiring to see a country like India stepping up and offering a fresh perspective on how we can use AI for good. But it's not just about policy and governance either. India is also making some big strides in AI development itself. They just announced plans to build their own LLM, aiming to compete directly with ChatGPT and DeepSeek.
That's a bold move. It definitely shows India's ambition to become a major player in the AI landscape. They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk.
It's incredible to see how this whole AI landscape is evolving from this narrative that was dominated by these Silicon Valley giants to a truly global phenomenon, with all these diverse players bringing their own perspectives and priorities to the table.
It was really exciting, and it raises a really important question for all of us. With so many different forces at play, what values will ultimately shape the future of AI? Whose vision will prevail? Musk's, Altman's, Alibaba's, India's, or maybe a blend of them all?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it brings us to the heart of what we've been exploring today, this dynamic, rapidly evolving, and sometimes even chaotic world of AI. We've seen corporate power struggles, data security concerns, a potential chip war brewing, and the rise of some unexpected players like India. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's definitely important to stay informed because, like we said before, these developments have real implications for all of us.
Absolutely. Landscape is shifting. From being dominated by these big Silicon Valley companies to a more global phenomenon, new players like India emerging. And it really got me thinking, with all these different forces at play, it kind of feels like we're at a crossroads with AI, where the decisions we make today, both as individuals and as a society, are going to have ripple effects for years to come.
Absolutely. And I think, for a lot of people listening, they might be thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but what does it actually mean for me? And the truth is, even if you're not a tech expert or a policymaker, the future of AI is going to impact all of us in ways that we probably can't even imagine yet. It's going to shape everything, from the jobs we do to the way we interact with the world around us.
So what can we do? I mean, how do we navigate this? It seems pretty complex.
Yeah. Well, I think the first step is simply staying informed. Pay attention to the news, read articles like the ones that you sent us, and try to understand the different perspectives out there about how AI should be developed and used.
Right. And I think it's important to not be afraid to ask questions. Like, the more we talk about these issues, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions.
Okay.
And to hold, the people in power accountable.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you have a choice in how you engage with AI. You can support companies and initiatives that align with your values. You can advocate for policies that promote responsible AI development. And I think most importantly, don't be afraid to experiment with these AI tools yourself. The more you understand how this technology works, the better prepared you'll be to navigate this whole landscape.
That's great advice. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from corporate power struggles to open source revolutions, and even India's surprising emergence as an AI leader.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But as you know, we've really only just scratched the surface. This AI world is constantly evolving, so it's more important than ever to stay curious and engaged.
Absolutely. So as you continue exploring this world of AI, I want you to keep this question in mind. What kind of future do you want to see? And what role are you going to play in shaping it?
That's a great question. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.